Well, welcome back to the My First Rodeo podcast, the show where we talk to really cool, interesting, and famous people about the various firsts on their path to success. And today is no exception. We have the very funny, the very lovely, the very talented Jenn Weeks, a very funny Jacksonville-based comedian who's one of the first people I met in comedy in Jacksonville. And we've grown to build a great friendship and work on shows together. And I just so admire the way she builds her style comedy, which is uniquely and authentically her. She is bigger than life. She is from Alabama, and she just, I don't know, reflects and does big form storytelling in an authentic way that I just admire. Wish I could do. I wish I could tell or would grow into telling longer form jokes, but the way she does it is perfect for her. We get into her style of comedy and how she developed it, and really the unique way in which she kind of backed into comedy, backed into producing her own shows, and kind of humbly took a step back and sort of went back to the beginning of the more traditional approach that comedians follow. But from my perspective, anyway, maybe that wasn't it wasn't necessary because she had already accomplished so much and she was already so talented. And I think, as so often happens with some people, she maybe felt like she needed to take her time or find her place or wait her turn even. And that's not always necessary. And different people hear that message differently. But in her case, it calls her to be humble and, probably grow from the process. But my gosh, many years into it, she is just really exceptional. And I see her get compliments from people, from audiences, and from national headliners, from TV stars, from producers that we've interacted with. And, I think she's as surprised as anybody to hear that feedback. She just does not know just how good she is. And in a place and in an era, in a time where there's so many people who, do step into a spotlight before they're ready. She's one who had been ready and has been ready for a long time. And look forward to seeing all the big and great things that she does. But enjoyed the opportunity to sit down with my longtime friend, Jenn Weeks. If you know Jenn Weeks, you're going to really enjoy this episode and getting to know her backstory and her comedy origin story and all that. And if you don't know Jenn, you're going to enjoy the episode. And I know it's going to want to make you go check out her social media presence and find her when she's performing in a town near you. This is me talking to Jenn Weeks. All right, Jenn, good to see you again.
Good to see you too. How have you been?
Good. You've been promoted. You were a co-host back in the day, and here you are at the so-called studio.
I'm very honored. Well, very nice studio.
Thank you very much. AKA my dining room table.
Very nice.
All right, get down on that microphone so everybody
right up in there. Get right up in there.
That is the amazing voice. So much fun to have you. You're probably the person I am closest to that's been a guest. So I don't even have to make up questions because I've seen some of the evolution, though it seems like you were completely formed by the time I first met you as both a comedian and a human being.
Definitely as a human being. I was definitely formed. I think I was probably when I met you, I was definitely getting close to coming into my own, or kind of, because I think it took me a while to find my voice, but to get into that really comfortable phase. Yeah.
So. One of the things I admire the most about you, and I remember the other guys and ladies in the Comedy Zone telling me this about you when we sort of sat in the back of the room and workshop things, is like your jokes come out, again, I'm going to use the phrase fully formed, but by that I mean, it's like, you're like, I have an idea, and then you start expounding on the idea. It's usually something with your family, or you just got back from Alabama, and all you do, and you talk about it, and it seems, it's like, wow, she should just do her special right now because that joke is perfect.
Wow. I definitely don't feel that way, but thank you. Oh, thank you guys. Thank you. Like I don't know. In my mind, I'm like, let me get it out. Can y'all hear it? Like, do y'all hear what I hear? Because sometimes it's in my head and it's scrambled, but I'm like, let me get out and iron out the thing. So even I used to love doing a workshop when we were really coming out, like you could get really good feedback and just switch that word. Just put this here. Like I missed that. Yeah. What a time.
So what, do you feel like, you're when you're trying out new material and obviously I've seen a lot of your material multiple times. I've seen you break out new things, but when you do break out something new, do you feel like you have to work it out for a while, or do you feel like that's a complete enough concept that I can try it again and again and just, smooth things out?
I can think it depends on what it is. Sometimes I've had things that I'll like, let me just throw that out, and it'll be random and not even planned. And as you're saying it, something else kind of comes to your mind and you flow with it. And I'm like, oh, that was good. That turned out all right. Versus some things that I've had things that I've said on for years, just scared to, I'm sorry, Mike, I'm writing in my, get in there.
No, you're perfect.
But I've had pieces that like I've held on for years. Like, I don't know, is it time yet? Should I try it? But some I try and I think, oh, this is going to be great. And it just does not, it flops. And I'm like, wait, did you guys hear it? Like I heard it in my mind. But
I have never been around when you flopped. I've certainly seen some things work extraordinarily and some maybe not quite as good. But is it the stuff that is in your brain that still needs working out, or just courage to bring out? Is it subject matter wise, or just a joke that you feel like you haven't fully worked out?
Yeah, like a joke I feel like I haven't fully worked out. There's something off the top of my head, I can't think of what it is, but it's not hitting me now. But I've tried it so many times, but it just doesn't land for me. But I'm like, it's funny. Yeah. Like, and I cannot think of what it is right now. People, I'm over a certain age. Okay. I just can't remember what, but whatever it is, it's like, when I say it, I'm like, that's funny, right? But I just can't find the way to present it. I don't know why. But
well, I imagine one of the challenges, at least it would be for me, if I was the type of comedian that you are, your bits are long form. I don't think I can't think of a bit that you do that's not, or couldn't easily be 6 or 7 minutes. Do you have any that you're like, I clock that as 3 minutes, I'll add that on? It seems like everything takes a good little while to evolve. And
some pieces, or sometimes depending on if I know my timing is shorter, I'll take out certain parts of that bit, like, oh, we'll just do 2 punches instead of 3, or, know.
So I'm not so far off when I say that, every one of your, I'll call them stories, could be a 10-minute bit.
Probably, yeah. I didn't even think about it until you just said it. Like, yeah.
That's what it feels like. It feels like you've got your, and like you say, I've seen you, if you're serving a different role, maybe take a couple of beats off of a particular bit.
Yeah.
And I always miss it because I'm like, oh, that's where she said.
And you're like, wait, she didn't say it. Oh.
Yeah. But I get it. You're rushing to fit in whatever time you have.
Yeah.
But long form is, I wish I could do what you do. I think I'm a decent, storyteller, of other people's stories on the podcast and then of my own stories around the dinner table. But I just haven't given myself permission to do a long form, self-reflective story. They're all set up and punch.
But I like yours. I'm like, why can't I do that? Even, I don't know if you were, if you had been commenting on that, and his name was, Travis Bates. Travis Bates?
Is he the one that passed away?
He passed away, had one leg.
I remember people telling me they wished I had heard him.
Oh my gosh, his one-liners were, they were superb. Do you hear me? Superb. But you remind me of that. And I was like, I don't have that. You ever be somewhere and you hear other comedians, it can be a bunch of it, and they say something, you're like, why didn't I think of that? Why didn't I think of that? You know what I mean? So it's funny that you say, the way I do things when I look at other people like, oh, I wish I could do that. Because I wish I had just the short, let me just say this quickly and go. Like if it comes out quick, it's because I'm talking really fast.
Yeah. Well, you have set up and punch in the middle of your 10-minute piece. You have a bunch of, set up and punches with little 20-second turnarounds.
Yeah.
You're doing it. I guess the grass is always greener, but I wish I had the courage to, do long
You should
genuine
try
reflection
it.
like you do. I do to my stuffed animals or.
Oh my God. But I'm saying you have as many opportunities as you present for other people and put on shows and things. You could, add a little in. But I understand because like I hate open mic. Oh, it's so intimidating to me. And especially if there's a majority comedians there because our mindset is totally different. We're not there to laugh.
Yeah.
We're there to work out our own material, but we're listening like, oh, they could have tried it that way. They could do a callback, da, da, da. So it's not, so you're like, I don't really know if it works or not. Now I got to get in front of a live audience while I'm doing a show and hope this don't flop. But
there's danger. And I think even you told me about it when I was getting started because you were doing it a lot longer than me. In performing for other comedians because other comedians get jaded and
exactly
want to hear something weird or unpredictable and it may or may not resonate with civilians.
So I for open mics or being in front of comedians, I think their mindset is just different. So sometimes
not good.
And sometimes I go to shows like it's funny. I'll be at the open mics or other shows with other comedians, and I'm the one that they're like, "Is she laughing?" Like, if it's funny to me, I'm laugh. Instead of having on that comedian hat. Like, sometimes, like, I'm not a comedian. I'm just here being a guest. Just enjoying.
No,
but
you got to earn Jenn's laughs. And, I've been the beneficiary sometime, and you hear that from the back of the room.
Right? Like, I can't. I don't laugh light.
There's some comedians, and again, you're one of them. Crespo's one, where when they laugh, especially if it's a room that's not fully filled, it does ignite the entire audience.
Yeah.
I don't think mine does. Mine is more of a.
Yeah, you're very. But like sometimes you do dry humor, and I don't have that. I wish I had that dry. Dry humor.
I was about to say there's nothing dry about you, but that's not what I'm trying to communicate. You're just you're a bubbly,
right,
juicy personality, and I wouldn't want you any other way. So I know somewhat of your backstory, but since this is the My First Rodeo podcast, tell the audience who may not know how you got into this thing.
Okay, so picture it, Sicily, 1929.
That is not the story I know, but I'd like to hear that one.
There was this random Saturday, the church I used to attend, we had a women's trip to Savannah. It was in the middle of summer. We're on our way back. The air conditioner on the bus breaks. It is the middle of summer. So a lot of black women on the bus, honey, we were hot, okay?
Hot and hair and makeup.
Yes, hello. And a lot of them were over a certain age. So all the pauses, the menopause, the perimenopause, the post, like all the pauses were there. So, but me and another young lady, we were sitting in the back and we were literally talking about being single and different men that were trying to date us. And I was talking about this one guy that I met in the apartment complex that I stayed in. I think his sister lived out there. But if he smiled, it looked like he had all his teeth. But then once he moved his mouth to talk, you realize that they were all like, he had maybe 7 teeth in total. But when he smiled, it looked like he had all his teeth. So we were just talking about different stuff and being single. And the ladies were laughing. And this lady there said that she had a friend who was a comedian. And I was like, great. And she was like, I want you to be on the show. And I was like, I'm not a comedian, And so long story short, the man called me and they had a meeting at their house. And he had a spotlight in his living room.
That's a little creepy.
Yeah, I was like, what is happening? So it was me and him and 2 other comedians. And so I was
there an audience as well?
No, it was just us. So he said, come into the stage, but he called somebody else up and I knew who was going to call me. So I just thought of stuff that I had said that was funny or other people laughed about.
Wait, I'm trying to place this. He's having a show. Is there a virtual audience?
No. This was just the meetup. We end up doing the show, but this was like the first meeting.
I got you.
And when we come in, he's like, come into the stage. And I'm like, sir, we're in your living room. Like,
he was giving you the
happening?
Real experience.
Right. Sir, you're standing in front of the mantle. Like, what are you doing? Right. So I was like, well, what do I do? I've never, and they were like, write material. I was like, what does that even mean? They were like, if you think it's funny, write it down. So like the next week I come back and I had like 3 typed up pieces of paper. They were like, where are you going with this paperwork? It's like, well, you told me.
Where do I turn in my assignment?
Exactly. So I started that was how I started. And that was in 2010. Yeah. And I did that show in August of 2010 and I didn't do another show for a year and a half.
Wow. And so there was a show after the living room.
Yeah. We did an actual show.
So how did it go?
It was great. It ended up being at the church I was attending at the time.
Yeah.
So I was nervous, but I knew, my church family and my family, biological family were there. So I felt good and very supported. And what was crazy, I ended up they gave me 15 minutes, my first show.
For those of
I
you
was
who
like, y'all are
aren't in comedy,
insane.
that's a lot.
That is
for both the audience and for you
substantial amount of
in a
Yeah.
first show.
But I memorized, you would have thought it was the longest. It was a 15-minute Easter speech. I memorized everything. I even put pauses where I thought there should be laughter.
So you performed.
I memorized it.
But obviously what's beautiful about your comedy, even though I've heard some of your bits many times, is they come out each time as if they're being told for the first time.
Oh, thank you.
And and you do add new tags and just new expressions. So I'm trying to picture you scripted. I mean, would I have not had the same reaction if I saw that, or were you able to sort of memorize it with that same personality?
I guess that's that. Because I did theater as well. Well,
right.
I did some stage plays here and there. So I think it was that, like, just memorizing your line and making sure, and then I knew, I was like, this is my church family. They're going to laugh. Like, they're going to tell me afterwards, like, hey, that was horrible. Just be an usher, if it's horrible, but so I knew it would be good. I was like, if even for just this one time, it'll be good. So, and it just made me think, and it's what I do now. But instead of memorizing word for word, I just know the bits. Like, I'll talk about work.
Right.
I'll talk about the guy that I think is a murderer at work. I'll talk, you know what I'm saying? I'll talk about the break room, my boss. So I have it'll just the key words for me, the premise, So I guess that's a short form way of memorizing everything like I did before.
Yeah. I wish I could do that. Again, not to make it about me, but when I've tried to do longer form, I do write it out and then I just can't find a way to reduce it. That's the beauty of, short form is I just have to remember a word.
Yeah.
So you do it in retrospect as you look back at those comedians, and I don't know whether you've bumped into them again, and the word comedian can sometimes just mean some person who's kind of doing their own thing. Do you remember those comedians with awe, or do you look back and you're like, oh my God, that they were horrible?
The first show, are you referring to?
Yeah, the other three people you won with.
One of them, he's passed away. I heard recently.
We won't speak ill of him.
Right. He was situationally funny. I think he worked on comedy if
that's a horrible thing to say.
I think he worked on comedy if the environment was right, if home was right, if work was right. Other than that, so everything had to be in order for him to work on comedy. One of the guys, he's still doing comedy to this day. The other guy, he was supposed to have the 15-minute slot. He said at that time that he had been doing comedy for 9 years. I took his slot and he took my 5-minute slot. So we'll just leave it at that.
I got you. Yeah, because there is a tendency to put on a pedestal the people you start working with. And fortunately, a lot of the people I started working with were like you and others who remain on a pedestal.
Yeah.
But there's other people who you're like, I thought that person knew everything. And now I realize they were just reading out of a book or something.
Or even the way they did things or the way. And I've even seen some that's like sitting around, hanging out. They are hilarious, but it doesn't always translate on stage. Yeah. And I've even had bits that was just when I was with my friends, it was funny, but everybody else can't relate type of thing. So
and a lot of the funniest people on stage are not terribly funny in the green room. Don't maybe try to be, or just aren't.
Yeah.
But green room funny is not necessarily stage funny.
And I think for me, I'm in the green room like, okay, what am I going to work on? You know what I mean? I'm in. I used to have to come to the venue and kind of walk around and see the space before like how I see huge headliners come into Comedy Zone, wherever, and they might just show up, get out of their car and walk in. And I'm like, how is this possible? I need to see the energy, the people in there, feel the energy of the room. You know what I mean? So that's my goal, to get to that point that I can just walk in and be like, okay, I'm here.
I don't know that that's better. I've worked with some folks. You've worked a lot of big folks too. And I've seen them in clubs and in theaters actually go around to an empty theater and just sort of walk around. Yeah. I don't know if they're praying over the seats or if they're just trying to figure out what the angles are and what the vision is.
If it's a new place, I'm like, let me get there a little earlier. I just need to go in. I was like, maybe that's my thing. I don't know. Yeah. I need to see where it's at. I'm always nervous. Are there steps? Because I'm great at falling. So Are there
Yeah.
steps involved? How many?
I'm aware of one big fall. Is that falling been a thing for you?
Well, it wasn't a full fall, but the very first show, I tripped up some stairs going to the stage. I was
okay.
like, so I tripped into comedy, is what
Yeah,
I
you
tell
did. You
people.
fell.
So I didn't fall on
But
that
not
one.
so long ago, you had a big
I
fall.
did. Last year, Atlanta, West End Comedy Festival.
Mhm.
I was on the show with Lace Larrabee was the headliner.
Okay.
And it was the biggest room in the venue. All the shows were going great. Every comedian, it was just on fire. It was great.
Mhm.
And they called my name, and there was like carpet or something on the stage, but it was lifted up, and my foot hit it, and I tripped. And it was in my mind, I was like, I think I'm hitting the floor. Like I felt myself lowering, and I was like, oh, I'm going down. Yeah. Like there was no stopping it. There was no, yeah. I was just like, oh, I'm about to hit the floor. Okay.
So you're getting, I assume, greeted by a host who was fist bumping you or trying to high five you?
She was still in the front. She had the mic. She was standing like by the stool, almost at the edge of the
You
stage.
didn't even make it that far.
Oh, no. When she got to me, I was fully laid prostrate on the floor.
Yeah. Face down or?
I had my head up, but I put my head down. I was like, just lay here for a second. Just
your feet.
Right. It was like, just acknowledge the fact that you're laying down. Like where your feet should be, your body is.
Now, so what sounds do you remember hearing? Like, is the audience still clapping?
There was a full clap, and then there was a collective.
You got it all.
And then I had a couple of friends in Atlanta that were there, and one of them yells out, "What a way to make an entrance!" And so that was funny. But I got up and I was just like, people afterwards, like, you crushed it. I was like, I had no choice. Like, I came and failed. I came to the green room. And there were comics who were on different shows. It's like, hey, you're the girl that failed. I was like, hey, or you can call me Jenn. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right.
Another guy was like, I missed the fall, but I did hear your set.
Now it can hurt when you fall. Did it hurt?
My knee did hurt a couple of days later.
Yeah.
Oh, that's your little thing in the window. I thought that was a face. Did you see how I turned?
No, you
cat-like instincts.
Yeah, you did seem like you were scared that something was coming at you.
But yeah, you know what? Even the people who were working in admin and everything, they kept, "Are you okay? Are you okay? We have medicine." They also had like Cheech and Chong was one of the sponsors. We have weed. I was like, what do you need? But no, it was fine. So
did you? I know you've said, but sometimes we stretch the truth that the host tried to help you up.
She did. She walked over to me, but she was I think her name was Sarah, tall blonde, but she was a small framed woman.
Yeah.
I looked up at her. I said, just grab my glasses, because they had flown completely off my face. I was like, because if you try to get me up, me and you gonna be on the ground. So just go grab my glasses, man.
That wouldn't. Get this
It was like, and I think I have a picture of her face is like, and she's like reaching down. I was like, don't just grab my glasses, please.
Well, if anyone can recover from that, it would be you.
Yeah. So that was fun though. I'm like, hey, I'd do it again. Not on purpose though. Yeah. And when I get back to the green room, one guy was like, "Are you a physical comedian?" I was like, "Sir, do I look like a physical comedian?"
I am now.
Right. So yeah.
So why does a year go by before you try comedy again? And then what prompted you to, because it sounds like you were maybe going to be one and done.
Yeah, I was just like, okay, we'll check this off the list. Because I used to listen to the Steve Harvey morning show. And I was like, maybe I could do this. But then he talked about how it's a job. And I was like, oh, I have one of those. Like, I'm good. So immediately that was checked off the list. It was not on my mind at all. And after I did that show, I went back to my regular job and was working. But it was like I saw these, I remember being at work, like typing, and I could just see, like it was just popping in my mind. I could see where it was. I could see the steps of so I knew the venue was supposed to be in my church because I could see these steps to get up to the stage. I saw the theme of it because it was called Therapy Session. And whoever, I can't remember. His name was Aaron. He did all the graphics for me. He used to work with me. And I was in like a straitjacket. It was like I needed therapy. And the jokes was just, I'd be at work or randomly, and jokes was just, I'm like, why is this happening? So I would just write them down.
In this year period where you weren't performing. So you're writing.
And then even after I wrote it, it probably took me a couple of months to be like, okay, maybe I should do something with this. So let's say I did all this writing, and then there was like a 4-month period where I was like, I told somebody at my work, my job about it. And she was like, you should do a show. And I was like, absolutely not. So once he finally talked me into it, and I was like, yeah, let's do this. Cause it was almost like, I need to get this off of me. Like it keeps like, I was like, I keep getting all these jokes and getting all this stuff, but it was good. Cause it was stuff. It was almost like all this stuff that I'd had in my mind. Like, let me just get this out.
Right.
Like once I did it, like, okay. And after that, I was like, all right, I'm good.
That was the second show.
Yes.
And was that, you said do a show. So did you create a show?
Yeah, which was insane.
Yeah.
I had never done an open mic. My first show, I did 15 minutes. My second show, a year and a half later, I did a 45-minute set.
All by yourself.
I was the only, I had like a poet. And then even before, because the thing was therapy session at the time, I had CeeLo Green had this song called Crazy. I had dancers who danced to Crazy, and then I came out on stage. Insane, right?
Wow.
Right. Who headlines their second time ever on stage? What?
And what type of venue was that?
That was at my church at the time.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you got people there.
So yeah, it was insane. I had like a VIP section, all kind of like, what are you doing, girl? And then after that, a church wanted me to do, that was in January, and a church wanted me to do their Valentine's Day. And it was a 45-minute set. And that was the first time that I was like, woo, because I did that show, but it was on a Friday. People were coming off from work. So they had dancing, they were giving away stuff. Then they let them eat. Then they wanted me to do 45 minutes of comedy. And I still remember to this day, there was a man there with his wife, and she was very much pregnant. And he was trying to stay awake, but it was Friday. It was late. And he was leaned on her stomach sleep. And I was like, I probably should wrap this up. But I didn't know how. I was like, I just know they paid me for 45 minutes. That's what I got to do. Yeah. But from that show, I'm sorry, I keep hitting your table. From that show, I got other shows from that.
Wow. That's such an odd way to get started.
Insane. Yeah. And after that, I saw online on Facebook, there was some women in comedy conference. And I said, you know what? I'm going to go. Flew to LA. I had never flown to LA. Had never been to California in my life. Wow. Got a hotel, rental car, and met all these other women doing comedy. Huh. And that was the first time I did an open mic. After doing two 45-minute sets and a 15-minute set, never doing an open mic. I did an open mic in California. I was like, and that's when I found out, I should have done this first. Gotcha. You know?
Well, even that's not some crappy local open mic. That's like going to LA and working with people who are at least in the industry or close to being in the industry.
I even met one of the girls who came to the conference. She was an opener for Sinbad. I got to meet Sinbad. Like, this is insane.
Wow.
Like, I was like, wait, I see you on TV, sir. He was so nice.
What year was that?
That was in 2012.
So 2012, you flew to LA. Now you're starting to sort of figure out that you've done things backwards, but it's worked. Yeah. And what do you do next?
I think when I went there and they talked so much about open mic, but at that time, 2012 was, we were starting to really get more into social media and things like that. But the comedians who put the shows on and the ones who talked to us were older comedians who had been doing this for years. So they came from a time where you get in a car and you drive around and y'all go on tour yourself. So, being told that you need to have been doing this at least 10 years before you. So it set me back because I was like, I shouldn't have been doing, like, why would I do my own show? So I kind of stepped back, like I shouldn't be at this point yet. And even once I always in my mind was like, where's the time frame at? Are we at the year 10? Now I feel like I can do this, but it's such a different place now. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Although that's such a humble response, which so many comedians, probably myself included, certainly those of us that are men tend to be like, I should be on the Tonight Show, whereas you're actually doing things and probably making a little money and certainly entertaining people. And then you're like, oh, somebody said I need to wait 10 years. I guess I'm sorry.
Right. And I'm taking it from people who I've watched you on Def Comedy Jam or on BET. I've seen you on actual television. Yeah. One lady, she had a TV show. So, and I'm like, okay.
Wait my turn.
Maybe I don't know what I'm doing. Yeah. And I think it was the wait my turn, but
yeah, it's so destructive sometimes.
Yeah, because one of my friends told me, she said, I feel like you going to Cali, even though it was a good experience and you have good connections, I feel like that part set you back mentally because you were feeling like, I shouldn't. Because if someone had asked me to host a room and I was like, no, I'm not ready for that. I couldn't. No, it's only at year 3. You know what I mean? I was still in my mind like, no, I can't, Yeah. So, but I think, I'm where I'm supposed to be. The timing was, even in those years where I feel like, you're waiting, like I still I did what needed to be done. Like I'm in the space I'm supposed to be at the time,
So do you start, because I think you were already largely out of open mics by the time I was getting started. So do you start doing some open mics for a while? I know you probably got to the Comedy Zone and did the workshop at some point.
By the time I got to Comedy Zone, I had already been doing comedy for like 3 years.
Right.
And now one of the things I will say, because when I first started, I was doing church. So I didn't know the full, I had to come back here and was like, where would an open mic be? I didn't really know where it was. And honestly, on the clean cut, not even clean comedy, but on the church circuit, a lot of them don't do open mic. It's kind of like maybe you got started in church and that's your tribe. So all you know is you go to different cultures. You don't really need to practice that because you've been in that. That's like you whatever your specific field of law is. You don't have to work out this stuff. This is stuff happens every day. We can talk about the litigations and the this and the that. You know what I mean? So it's like stuff that I know that's going to happen. I can bring up those pain points that we all deal with.
Plus, the open mic scene is not exactly conducive to church folk.
Exactly. So that was hard for me, too, because I was like, they may not be able to relate to what I have to say. So I had to kind of go through this. I was like, I don't want labels. I don't want to be considered a church comedian or a Christian comedian because you think, oh, she's only going to talk about Jesus for 10 minutes because that's not, you know what I mean? So I thought, I just wanted to do comedy. So, but when a comedian finally told me, he said, just bring them into your world. I was like, wherever it was Vince Taylor. He's out of Orlando. He said, just bring them into your world. And I'm like, are you sure? And I really started doing that. Like, y'all might not know about church, but let me tell you what happened here. So that really kind of meant like, I'm just going to have to bring you into my world. So even telling my joke about the gynecologist, it's a man who's never been, but he's like, you know what? But so
yeah, that's right.
Yeah, bring them into your world. Yeah. That's what I feel. I feel like that was a good piece of advice that I started going with.
How, and maybe you've answered it already because, you got started in church and you are a church person and you are a clean person. But how do I ask this question in a way that doesn't sound like a man trying to ask a woman a question? The reputation is that it's harder for women to break in. I think it's a well-earned reputation because of men and because of maybe the comedy audience. And as a result, sometimes women, especially new women to comedy, will sort of cater to what the audience may be demanding or what they think the audience is demanding. All that to say, whether I'm right or wrong about that narrative, you're not part of that narrative. You tell a gynecologist joke, but it's PG at best or at worst. So have you been tempted to try to go in that other direction? You have audiences where you're like, I'm going to have to, be R in order to entertain them, or do you just sort of stay your course and it works out for you?
I've tried. I've cursed like 3 times, and I was like, that just didn't feel right. That didn't. There are sometimes audience, I'm like, they won't relate, or you've seen the other acts that went up and you see that they like the raunchy.
Yeah, that's a good word.
But I had to get to the point. I'm like, well, this is Jenn. That's the only person I can give you is me. Either you're going to like it or you're not.
Authenticity.
I was at a point where I used to care about what people think, but I'm like, I know I was given this gift of comedy for a reason. Right. So it's for somebody. If you're not laughing, then obviously it's not for you. You're not my, preferred clientele. So, and that's fine. So, I'm kind of like, hey, and even with, men, and I've heard a lot of people, I think I just don't focus on the fact that, yes, male dominated, but there's a lot of fields that are male dominated. You know what I mean? A lot of fields that are whatever dominated, but there's still a lane for me. And I feel like I drive well in it.
I think there's a huge lane for you. And obviously I thirst for female comedians and applaud them, especially when, whatever, they resonate with what I, as an audience member, not as a comedian, like. And, I think you've hit the nail on the head. You are authentically you. You don't try to be somebody else other than maybe a slightly bigger version of yourself that you have to do when you get to stage. Yeah. But I think we all need to learn from that, men and women, just comedians in general, is just to figure out who you are, who your comedic voice is, and then to lean into that and then find your audience.
It took me a while to find that voice. Like, I don't, you know what I mean? Because especially when you're first starting, because you're kind of like, well, let me think about this comedian that I like. And before you
Right.
know it, you're on stage
Imitate.
and you're right. And I was like, okay, I don't want to do that. Now I'm an impersonator.
Right.
So yeah, getting to that. But I don't. I was like, why would we? I don't like, and there are people, they're only all men on the show or there's only one. Don't focus on that. Like just because for a while I started doing my own shows. Like there wasn't sometimes there were, I knew people that wanted to come to comedy shows, but they thought it was all raunchy.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, let's start clean cut comedy shows.
Yep.
Hey, y'all can come out. There's men, there's women, we're black, we're white, we're all these different races, and it's gonna be clean.
Yeah. And
it's cringe free. Like you won't be like, can I laugh? Is it okay? Like, no, you can bring your pastor.
Yeah.
So I think that was a good that was refreshing to see people who really wouldn't come. Because I've had people like, this is my first comedy show. I'm like, you're 90, or whatever, But because typically, we're going to be talking about body parts that are in the lower region. We're going to talk about all the reproductive organs.
How they say it? They actually say in the lower region.
Right. We're going to talk about reproductive organs. Every comedian knows. And even in doing shows like that, I've had people come up to me and be like, wait, you were clean.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed it. I'm like, thank you. They're like, it's refreshing. Thank you.
Yeah, I think that's interesting. Like, I think you're saying, and then I've had this experience too, where you work on a show with folks that are not necessarily clean and some that are downright raunchy, and the audience enjoys it, and they almost have to remind themselves at the end, hey, I just realized you never cursed or talked about your body parts.
At all. Right.
I just realized that.
And which I'm like, if that's your freedom of speech, and if that's what connects with you and that makes you feel authentic, whatever you want to do on stage, okay, fine, but I'm going to do mine too. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
Now that makes good sense. Talk about some of the first big headliner you remember working with, maybe a couple of them, what you learned from them to do or not to do.
John Witherspoon, rest in peace. He was, he was so sweet. Oh my gosh, that man was so sweet. He was older. He was like in his 70s the first time I met him, and first time we worked together. And he was, he didn't sleep a lot. Older people don't sleep a lot. So he was talking about how because he was doing the show Black Jesus. So after the show, he's up till 3, 4 in the morning reading lines, going over lines and stuff like that. But he would tell me how, going on tour and stuff, he was like, you see some comedians, they bring this full entourage.
Right.
He was like, and it's just me. He was like, I'm going to get this check and I'm going to share it with my wife. I don't have to worry about, getting 7, 8 other people, where they're going to go for hotel and flights and all that. So he was just saying, keep your circle small, especially when you're traveling. And he was just so nice and down to earth. I remember I think the very first time that I hosted for him. And so maybe the feature was selling merch, but John Witherspoon had this old Polaroid camera, like not even the regular Polaroid. You refilled the film like in the back, and then he had duct tape over.
Not even a good Polaroid camera.
And he was like, okay, there was a certain way you had to hold and take the picture. And he was like, don't, when it pulls out, when you take the picture, I'll pull it out. And he would shake it.
This was for people that were coming out to see him afterwards. Yeah,
afterwards. Now some people would charge to take a picture on your cell phone. He was like, if you want to take a picture on your cell phone, we'll do that after the ones. Because he would have like John Witherspoon and stick it in a small little frame and all this stuff.
School, yeah.
Yes, like let me get it and shake it out and make sure it's fully developed before we get to the next person. So I was like, well, I'll take the pictures for you. I ain't doing nothing else.
Right.
And like after he finished everything that weekend, he said, I'm gonna go to the green room and come back. He was like, wait for me. I was like, yes, sir. He comes out, he pays me for taking his picture. He gave me more money than I got for hosting. And I was just like, what in the world? But he's just he was really nice. Everybody I've worked with the exception of, what was his name? Pip? The Magic Dragon or something.
He's still right, I think.
Probably, but he was a piece of work.
Yeah, you get those.
He was a piece of work. Yeah. But everybody, I've really not had any bad experiences. Dion Cole was super nice, very quiet. And a lot of them are super quiet. Yeah. So it's not that I'm all Hollywood. They're really introverts. A lot of us are like in the green room, quiet in my corner, listening to music or something. Yeah. And then I'll come on stage and, do my thing. But, David Arnold is another one. The late great David Arnold.
Yeah, sensing a trend there.
Right. Like this is the second one I worked with, and he passed away. But I watched him get on that stage and tell jokes. And what I noticed about him is I watched the audience and the way they responded. But he was talking about, he talked a lot about being married and having children. And the people, the way they could relate, that's one of the things that made me be like, talk about life, stuff that people can relate to. So watching him and watching the audience respond, like that was beautiful for me. So, yeah.
And speaking of talking about life, one of your, I thought, most impressive projects, and certainly I know a passion project, was Good Grief. And that was as much a comedy show as a one-woman show, as a tribute to your grandmother.
Yes.
Talk about obviously what inspired that and what gave you the courage to do it and what you got out of it.
Good Grief, an ode to Retha May, who was my grandmother, who passed away in January of 2023. She was probably that was the closest family member that had passed away in about 20 years. So it was our whole family. We were like, because my mom's the only child. So we didn't know. It was like, what is that? We didn't know what to do, which, they're getting older. So me and my older sister, I was like, we're getting prepared. You are not prepared. So it, you know what? It was just on me. I just couldn't. And I said, you know what? Like, that'll be my way to grieve and to kind of honor her, is to do a comedy show. Because she used to always say, don't put me in your little show. She would always say that, don't put me in your little show.
You got the last word.
Right. I was like, well, since you decided to kick the bucket, you get a whole show, right? Yeah. But it was, so I said, you know what? I think I'll do a comedy show. And then, life started happening, and grief is not linear. You feel very much bipolar. And I was like, no, I'm not going to do this. But it stayed. When I tell you, it stayed on my mind. Like, I could not rest. I would wake up and it would be the first thing on my mind. And I got irritated. I feel like that's how God works on me. Like, if it's something I'm supposed to do, it'll stay on my mind until the point that I'm like irritated, like, fine. So literally that's what happened. I was like, fine, I'll do it. And found this building downtown, and literally, and probably, I found it a month before we did the show, and I was like, we're just gonna do it. He was like, we see 80 people. I was like, probably only 30 people will show up. It's about grief. It's about death. Nobody's gonna come, but I needed to get it out. In 2 weeks, 80 seats sold out. Like, they were like, you can add seats. I'm like, no. So it was, but it was the most amazing. Now I'll go back and look at it like, oh, that was so flawed, and I should have did this, and my makeup wasn't right, and blah, blah, blah. But it was just so authentic and relatable. And I looking at the video and looking at people in the audience, and I could look at every table and knew somebody there who was going through it and had experienced it, and all these other, all these things, but just finding the funny in it. Yeah. Because we're all going to be at that point. Everybody's going to be at that point where whether it's a relationship, a person, I don't know, a job, whatever, there's grief,
Yeah. I was there and I didn't realize it was preparing me for my mother, who passed away maybe a year after, but no, certainly relatable.
Yeah, it's just, and some of the stuff is still like the whole funeral home when he was like, you should get a waterproof casket. I'm like, sir, what are you talking about? Yeah. So even just finding the funny in that and being able to, I was like, this is what I do and this is what I'm good at. Yeah. And that's how I'm going to honor her. But it, over just it being a good show, like, it helped people. People were like, I needed that. Yeah. And even when I released it on my website, like, the people hitting me back, like, I had a lady, she's a grief counselor, and she was like, I could use this for patients.
Nice.
I'm like, cool. Like, that's my thing. Like, listen, grief is raggedy. Ooh, would not recommend, but
Did it help you?
It definitely did. It really, really helped me. I was nervous about my family watching it, but they really enjoyed it. Yeah, it makes you tear up, but it was just, it was because she was just this, oh my gosh, you realize, like, I really love that lady. Yeah. But it did help me. I was able to just get out all these feelings, but feel like, you know what? Like, I think she would be proud. Yeah. So it was really good.
I know she would. Now, on the other end of the spectrum is your social media presence, which this is an old person using words that I probably shouldn't. But I mean, you've gone viral, as they would say. I mean, it's some really funny stuff. I would hope our listeners would check it out. In fact, go ahead and say your social media handle so I don't screw them up.
Jenn Weeks Comedy. Yeah. So
it's good stuff. And I mean, you do stuff where you are a prayer operator for a hotline and a whole bunch of other things that are it's not topically different than what a lot of people do, but somehow when you bring your personality and just the way you communicate things, I don't know, they're hysterical to me and obviously to a lot of people.
Yeah. Thank you. You know what? The prayer thing came. My mom was, she was in the hospital and I went to Alabama to visit her. And she like passed out at home when she was working from home. So I go to I would go to her house just to clean up where she had fell or whatever. And she was working from home and she had this headset, but she ended up having an extra. So I was like, are you using this for anything? Like, that's where it came from. I was like, Mom, if you wouldn't have had pneumonia, I would have never did these videos. But that's where I picked up the headset and was like, I could do something with this. And I practiced it, like, I think in her hospital room. It's like, yeah, we're going to keep this. We're going to, try this. So
it's all about props.
yeah, so that worked out. That's like, thanks for the pneumonia, Mom. You needed that.
So what's next for Jenn? I know you're always politely waiting your turn. Are you getting some sharp elbows? Are you ready to claim your position? Because you're probably the person who I would say if and I would miss you if you left. But if ever somebody should probably leave their town to spread their wings, it's probably you, because you're
Thank you.
as good as so many people. And, not a lot of people coming to Jacksonville, Florida to discover comedy.
Right. What's next for me? I am working on a show for the ladies. I'm in that over 40 era. And all the pauses are starting to happen. I call that a young lady, but go on. All the pauses are starting to happen. The perimenopause and all that. So I'm doing a show for ladies. I mean, men are welcome to come, but it's going to be like, hey, ladies, are you guys all right? Just kind of talking about, it's going to be topical, but, making it funny. I
love that.
About getting older and what there is to expect. So in my mind, I've kind of formatted it out. I just need to do things like, I don't know, get a building, a venue for it to go in, and I have the other comedians of mine, so me in my 40s and another comedian in her 50s and one in her 60s. Because it's like, what do we have to look forward to? Because I always have older women say, just keep living. And I'm like, what does that mean? Like, give me the cliff notes. Give me a clue. Because I'm nervous. Because 40s are really wear me out. So what? Right. Just keep living. What does that mean? Would I rather not live? So I want to do that. And I want to work on a few things, kind of touch base with comedians, behind the laughs. I talked to you about that. I'm starting a podcast. I have the graphics. So I just need to do it. Yeah. And what do we do outside of making people laugh? Like, how do we do it when life isn't funny? Yeah. But we're expected. Hey, I don't care what you're going through. You're in crisis, but your call time is 7:00. Be here. The show starts at 8. You know what I mean? Yeah. So, I'm not really sure. Yeah, I'm kind of taking this time of year is kind of like the hibernate. Oh God, people don't look at me. I'm very introverted. So I'm super introverted in this time of year. Yeah. Right now I'm just really kind of taking a little time to reset and trying to think out what I want to do. I know I'm thinking of a one-woman show. I just need to figure that out. Because before I wanted to do a one-woman show and it became the Jenn Weeks, one woman and a few other people, because I didn't want to do it by myself show. Right. Because the idea was like good. And I was like, wait, I would have to do all this stuff by myself? No, that's way too much work. So we'll see. Yeah. Well, whatever you do, I know it's going to be great. And I will say that whenever you do a show, at least your set feels like a one-woman show. Thank you. It's tremendous and it's energetic. And I hope people who love you, and there's so many of them, listen and get to know a little bit more about you. And those who don't, I hope they'll check you out. It's JENN Weeks, like weeks of the month. Yes. And like if I had a daughter, her name would be Days and Weeks. Oh, there you go. There you go. And would be the middle name, or? Yeah, Days and AHNN. The H is silent. Maybe one day. Right. But thanks for being a beautiful example. Thanks for being my friend. And thanks for joining us. Thank you so much, Mike. I appreciate it. You're just so awesome. Well, there you have it. That was me talking to Jenn Weeks. I hope you enjoyed that. There's nobody sweeter and kinder and more capable and just able to tap into emotions and
tell jokes for people that don't always have jokes written for them in a way that's impactful. She takes sad things and real things and just parts of her culture and upbringing and makes them funny in a way that's not just relatable to people um, who have those same experiences or are from that same culture, but also for people who are unfamiliar with, people like her and church folk and people from Alabama and all the beautiful things that represent who she is. Um, and she's intriguing. Her story is intriguing. I think she represents constituents who are intriguing and who maybe we only have anecdotes about or just a picture of that's not entirely accurate. And she helps to fill that in. So grateful to be able to bring Jenn Weeks to you. I hope you enjoyed this episode. I hope you'll share it with others. I hope you'll go check out some of the other great episodes that we have, including all the fun comedians that we've had the opportunity to talk to this year and over the years, and a couple more to come before we close out this year. I hope you'll subscribe and hope you'll come back and join us next time on the My First Rodeo podcast.